You have probably seen the headline. Lighting one scented candle in your living room is like running a diesel engine in the same room. It gets shared every winter, usually with a scary photo, and it makes people feel guilty about the thing they light to relax. So let me do something a little different in this video. I am going to tell you straight up that the diesel engine line is an exaggeration. A candle is not a diesel engine, and anyone who tells you it is flatly is selling you something. But, and this is why you should stay, underneath that overblown headline there is a real, small kernel of truth. And once you understand it, you can keep enjoying candles, breathe cleaner air, and do it for about $4. So let me separate the hype from the part that actually matters. First, where that diesel comparison even came from. Years ago, there was research looking at emissions from candles, and somewhere along the way it got stretched, simplified, and turned into a viral comparison that the original work never really supported. That is how these things travel. A measured finding becomes a frightening headline because the headline gets clicks. So no, your vanilla candle is not pumping out the exhaust of a truck. Let that worry go. Here is the real kernel. When you burn anything indoors, you are putting combustion products into the air of an enclosed space. A candle flame produces fine particles, what scientists call particulate matter, and it produces a small amount of various gases. You can actually see the evidence yourself. That black smudge that builds up on the wall or the ceiling above where you keep a candle, that soot ring on the inside of the glass jar, that is real, and it is the visible part of what is going into the room. A scented, dyed candle adds more to the mix than a plain one, because the fragrance and color compounds burn too. None of this is dramatic in a well-ventilated room with the occasional candle. It becomes worth paying attention to in specific situations, and that is the honest framing nobody gives you. So who should actually care about this? If you have asthma or any respiratory condition, fine particles matter to you more than to most people. If you have young children or a baby in the house, their lungs are still developing. If you keep birds, and I keep saying this across these videos because it is true, birds are extraordinarily sensitive to airborne particles and fumes. If your home is small, sealed up tight, and poorly ventilated, everything you put in the air stays in the air longer. And if you are the kind of person who burns several candles for hours every single day, your exposure is simply a lot higher than someone who lights one on a Sunday evening. If none of those describe you, the occasional candle in an aired room is not something to lose sleep over. I want you to have the real picture, not a guilt trip. Now, what actually drives the soot and the junk? Because this is where you get your control back. 3 things: the wax, the wick, and how you burn it. Most cheap candles are made of paraffin, which is a petroleum product, and paraffin tends to produce more soot than the alternatives. The wick matters enormously. A wick that is too long, or one with a stiff core, burns dirty and throws soot, especially when it flickers in a draft. And the way you burn it matters. A candle left burning for 6 hours, guttering in a breeze from the hallway, with a long black mushroomed wick, is a little soot factory. The same wax burned correctly is a fraction as dirty. So here is the $4 swap, and you actually have 2 good versions of it. The first is to change the wax. A candle made of 100% beeswax, or pure soy, with a simple cotton wick, burns far cleaner than a cheap dyed paraffin candle, with noticeably less soot. Beeswax in particular burns clean and slow and has a faint natural honey scent. No synthetic fragrance needed. A small beeswax or pure soy candle is just a few dollars, and you can find them easily. That is your $4 upgrade right there. You are not giving up candles. You are choosing a cleaner one. The second version of the swap is to skip the flame entirely on the days you just want your house to smell good, and reach for the thing I keep coming back to. The simmer pot. A small pot of water on the lowest heat with orange peels, a cinnamon stick, and a few cloves fills your whole house with a warm scent. Costs you nothing but scraps you were throwing out, and puts no soot in the air at all. Pair that with a small open jar of baking soda with a few drops of essential oil to absorb odors, and you have covered both jobs, scent and freshness, with 0 combustion. But maybe you love a real flame, and I get that. There is something about it that a simmer pot does not replace. So let me give you the rules for burning any candle as cleanly as possible, because this costs nothing and makes a bigger difference than people realize. Rule 1. Trim the wick. Before every single burn, trim the wick down to about a 1/4 inch. This is the single biggest thing you can do. A short wick burns small, steady, and clean. A long wick is where almost all the soot comes from. Rule 2. Keep it out of drafts. Do not burn a candle under a vent, next to an open window, or in a hallway where air moves past it, because a flickering, dancing flame is an incomplete, dirty flame. A still flame is a clean flame. Rule 3. Do not burn it too long at a stretch. A few hours is plenty. Long marathon burns let the wick mushroom and the flame grow and start throwing soot. Rule 4. Give the room some air. Crack a window, run a fan now and then. Ventilation is the answer to almost every indoor air question. And Rule 5. If you see the candle smoking or the glass is going black, blow it out, trim the wick, and relight. That black glass is the candle telling you it is burning dirty. Now, why does nobody talk about any of this? Because the candle business is enormous and it runs on two things: ambience and repeat fragrance purchases. There is no marketing budget behind the message trim your wick, choose beeswax, or honestly, just simmer some orange peels, because none of that sells a $30 seasonal candle. The clean truth is quiet and cheap, and the expensive, heavily fragranced, brightly packaged paraffin candle gets the shelf at the front of the store. Same pattern as everything else. The better way was never hidden. It just had no salesman. So let me land this where it belongs, calmly. You do not need to throw out every candle in your house in a panic, and you should ignore anyone who tells you your candle is a diesel engine, because that is hype. What is true is simpler and more useful. Burning things indoors puts particles in your air, candles included, and you have complete control over how much. Choose beeswax or pure soy. Trim the wick every time. Keep it out of the draft. Air out the room. And on the days you just want the smell, let the simmer pot do the work for free. Do that and you get the warmth, the glow, and the scent with a tiny fraction of the soot for about $4 and a little common sense. And here is one detail that ties the wax choice and the soot together because it surprises people. When you burn a clean wax like beeswax with a properly trimmed cotton wick in still air, a candle flame actually burns remarkably completely. The reason a candle suits is almost always incomplete combustion, a flame that is too big, starved, or flickering, leaving unburned carbon to drift up as that black smudge. So everything I told you, the better wax, the short wick, the no draft, is really one idea wearing four hats. You are helping the flame burn what it is supposed to burn, fully, instead of throwing half of it onto your ceiling. That is why a good beeswax candle burned correctly leaves almost no mark at all, while a cheap dyed paraffin candle guttering in a hallway breeze coats the glass black in a week. Same physics, opposite result, and the difference is entirely in your hands. One last practical note. If you have been burning candles a certain way for years, and you go look at that dark mark on the wall above your usual spot, do not feel bad about it. Most people have one and never noticed. It is just the visible record of dirty burning, and it wipes off, often with that baking soda paste from the other video. Clean it off, switch your habits, and you will watch it simply stop coming back. Now tell me in the comments, how many candles do you have in your house right now? And be honest, because some of you have a drawer full. And go look at the wall or the ceiling above where you usually burn one, and tell me if you can see a faint dark mark up there, because once you spot it, you cannot unsee it. If you have already switched to beeswax or soy, tell us whether you noticed the difference. Subscribe and stay with me, because next time I am opening one box that sits in almost every kitchen in the country and showing you the 15 things it can do that replace half the cleaning products you are still paying for.